All right, so thankfully this surgery is going to be done sometime this week, and we will bring you the outcome of that. Cleft is something that can be dealt with. Thankfully, that little girl is going to have her smile back, and we will bring you the processes, and then we will bring you the aftermath as well.
Well, and we know that it's an abnormality that sometimes plagues a lot more children, but many of them also in communities that the parents don't have the best income levels and so can't access the best medical facilities as far as we know. But how do we counter it? It's through some of these innovative means and the assistance of some of these non-governmental missions, so to speak, that tends to help us to improve the livelihoods of many people who are rightly affected. We have the social network platforms, and many of you still keep sending out those messages, and we're very much grateful. And Mama V will try and do a recap or relay some of those messages to you, Karen.
Yeah, the conversation about Paris is still very much ongoing, the issue on the DP. This is Bear Moses from Jirapa saying, concerning the DP, I see nothing wrong with it because everything has a beginning, and this is just one of them. So more messages. I think there was a stronger one that came through earlier. I'm trying to look for it. Okay. All right, Roland, there's a message for you. You make journalism. Okay, you've got to read this because these are words that only you can understand.
Roland, you make journalism illustrious. Okay. You are my media icon. I bet you will go higher heights. I'm already old, though, so I'm wondering with my height.
Bring it.
Keep the fight, bro.
Okay, thank you very much. Raymond Wesley Assisi sending that message.
From where? Okay, he didn't state.
He didn't say, yeah. Raymond, thank you very much for the message.
Thank you, Raymond.
That's what happens when you turn blind eye on things you could take responsibility of. Boko Haram has been left to operate, and now you want us all to sympathize with France. Mystic from Spintex. So people clearly drawing, positions in here. Good morning to everyone in Ghana. I'm working with MTN. I like watching Joy News, you say, but you don't include your name. I am Bassett. I believe we're brainwashed by putting the French flag as our profile picture, but Islam means peace, 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 and we Muslims are against the attack. Thank you, Bassett, for that message. Good morning. Honestly, I think it's a huge deal because most of my friends who are even from France haven't even bothered to change their Facebook DPs with the filter, and we Africans are taking it personal, like we were around when the bomb went off. Noisy boy sending that message to us on WhatsApp. This one says, I feel ashamed when I see Africans try to sympathize with Westerners because those people do not do same with us. They built their cities from our resources but tend to look down upon us. That's a very strong message coming through as well. Thanks for all the messages. Mama V, pure racism. Even the way the reports are coming from the media and the news agency compared to that of the previous attacks in other countries tells it all. It's from Danny in Akosombo. And this one says, this is justice from Kwabeng. Racism in this world to never end. Okay, cheer, he adds. This one says, good morning to the entire Joy News staff. You're doing a wonderful job, and we say thank you so much. Seth in New Edubiasi says, I don't think individual subscribers were forced to change their DP. They made the choice themselves. This one says, actually, this French flag issue is stated in an article that people in Paris are to customize to show they are safe, not to everyone, please. Okay. And this one says, they think they are superior over us. Shame on them. Okay, now let's get on to this issue. The Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration are engaged in some sort of battle over who has the right to post consular officers to Ghana's foreign missions to issue visas. An Immigration Service Bill 2015 currently before Parliament has hit a glitch. The challenge, well, apparently, is that the Foreign Affairs Ministry wants to take over a certain function, which is the right to post consular officers to Ghana's foreign missions to issue visas. the issue of entry visas and also give permits for work in the country. And that's the issue now. Now, snooping around Parliament last week, I got some hints that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration wants this visa issuance function in the Immigration Service Bill 2015 limited to the issuance of emergency visas only. Now, there are arguments that the Foreign Ministry's position is not backed by law. As a result of this position, debate on that portion of the bill, which is at the consideration stage in Parliament, has been deferred twice. When I got to Parliament, I got this conversation, and I want to bring it back. We'll talk more in the studio. Well, thank you for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
We understand the immigration bill is before your committee. What are some of the things that you're considering?
Okay, first and foremost, primarily we are looking at the new Immigration Service Act. We've never had one as a country. We used to have the Immigration Act and the regulations. We're now looking at the Immigration Service Act, and this is to help broaden the scope and then enhance the operations of the service as a unit of government.
One of the big issues we understand with that particular act is the issuance of visas. Why has it become an issue in the first place?
Thank you very much. I think it has become an issue because we have still not fully integrated the operations of government. Government operates through its agencies, departments and ministries. We've been running the issuance of visas through our missions abroad, primarily. And all those services, based on best practices as we know it now, are the functions of an immigration service unit, or what people call border control unit in various jurisdictions. The nomenclature and the naming of such operations depends on the jurisdiction that it is being practiced. Back here, we're having a law before us that is offering that role and mandate to the immigration service. However, because we have not had a clearly defined role, not necessarily a role, I shouldn't call it a role, defined lines, I must say, with government operations. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the missions, have been doing it, and it does so through the protocols, the international treaties that we have signed on behalf of the country. But we have in our Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the embodiment of the state as a representative in any land that they find themselves. So if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs say is in Togo, it is in Togo in the name of the Republic of Ghana. So any entity that at a point in time that fits the bill to be acting in the stead of the state acts in the ambit of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding of the issuance of visas and the policy on the issuance of visas and the legislations backing that activity. Clearly, it is the duty of the immigration service. Common wisdom tells us that it will be right for the person who originates the action to continue in terms of coordination, for us not to lose track of the information. Primarily, the operations of the Immigration Service is to admit people coming into our country and leaving our country. And the Immigration Service is a security service as well. They form part of the national security operatives. Unfortunately, on the House floor, the last time the Minister of Foreign Affairs was speaking, it was saying that was the reserve of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is their prerogative. Nobody fights with them on that, but he said that is the department. There's a department within Foreign Affairs called the Research Department. Currently, under law, they are external intelligence agency, and that is just work. But if you go through our Securities and Security Agencies Act, their functions as spelled out in that act do not allow them to do consular work. So that it may not be true. And this is a house of record, and we have to really deal with such matters. And there is every evidence abound that it is clearly a duty of the Immigration Service. And as I know it on the face of record, in this House, as we do this new legislation, I'm going to speak on behalf of the Immigration Service, and we must right the wrongs that we've been practicing.
But how many of your members are with you on this?
Oh, majority of members of Parliament believe in this rendition. I'm only taken aback because before the bill comes to us in Parliament, it has gone through Cabinet. I'm surprised that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, being a Cabinet member, comes on the House floor and proposes an amendment. Though she's a member of Parliament, she's got the right and the responsibilities to act. But her proposal is that the Immigration Service commences when a visitor has entered into our jurisdiction, hence on arrival. That is where she wants the Immigration Service of Ghana to commence her duties in respect of visa issuance, and then go beyond that and then do when residence permits are supposed to be issued or people are going to apply for Ghanaian citizenship or visa extensions. These are matters that the Foreign Affairs Minister prefers the Immigration Service does in country. She's not supporting the idea to have Immigration Service personnel trained solely such to act in our missions abroad. That is how I envisage it, and I think that would have been a great disservice to the Republic of Ghana and to ourselves as legislators, knowing best practice and not pursuing it.
I think the last time there was some updates on this from the Interior Ministry, that will be sometime in September. Marco Woyongo at the Meet the Press did say the reason they are not able to perform that function in the missions abroad is because of financing. I don't know if this has come to your attention. How do we intend, even if it's the sole responsibility of the immigration, are we still going to see the Foreign Affairs Ministry take up that bit of the responsibility?
It is purely a policy matter. Government must prioritize her operations. If government wants to enhance the internal mechanisms of interior, government must put its act together. Surprisingly, you are asking a different body to originate information, start a process, and ask a different person to come and continue in here. Whereas in the same embodiment, why are we going too far? We have members of our Ministry of Trade attaches in all our missions. We have members of the defense as defense attaches in our missions. We have members of our information service as information attaches in our missions. What stops us from having our Immigration Service personnel in our missions as well? And they're so trained to do this service, and I think we have to go with it.
You know, my fear, the committee does a fantastic job, make recommendations, it gets to the floor, and then we begin to vote NPP and DC. My fear again is because I hear there are influences in high places, and this might go the Foreign Affairs way instead of where it rightly belongs.
I don't hope for such actions, because we've gone through, Mr. Speaker directed us to go into a winnowing committee where we all go and iron out our differences prior to coming onto plenary on the House floor. And in winnowing, we have sat 3 times, and majority of members in committee agree with the spirit of the bill as it's before us. So the letter is what we must also enforce. The reasons are that makes the service, the mission itself to do. If you look at if you read the preamble of the bill, the memorandum that accompanied the bill that comes before us, we want to expand the service. We want to expand the operations. Why are we worrying? Today we're building up a huge data center. We're looking at harmonizing our data. Why should we allow bureaucracies to come and interfere with operations, simple operations? Because the Minister of Foreign Affairs herself said that the Research Department do not report to her. However, by creation of our national security architecture, the Minister of Interior, and it is explicit in our Constitution, the Minister of Interior, and even in the Act, the Security Act, the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the President, and other members of our security installations form the National Security Council. So these are members who know themselves already. And so why wouldn't you allow the person such trained to work on what they are supposed to do. We just have to flow with best practice. This is a country, this is a democracy which is fledgling. We need not, fight over turf on some of these matters.
So where are we now, and where are we going next?
We're making progress. That once you are going through a bill of such nature, you are bound to meet certain deferments. So certain clauses were stood down. We are going back to plenary to iron them out, because we were so mandated by Mr. Speaker and directed in that respect to go and look into these clauses that are becoming issues on the House floor, to just go and iron them out appropriately. And we have done the best of ourselves within committee, and we have approved same. I'm sure we're just going to transcend them on the House floor. Except government comes up with a different policy that it doesn't want it to be so. Then, I can't determine for government. Government runs its business as it deems fit.
Thank you very much, sir.